Greetings, I'm Bob Lancer of lovethemethod.com and also boblancer.com. And what I'm going to be doing here in this video is reading an excerpt from my upcoming book called The Method, How to Be Free. And the purpose of producing these videos for you of my audio readings is so that you can listen to the content at any time, including when you're driving or taking a walk or working out, first thing in the morning, and particularly last thing at night as you're drifting off to sleep. You can take these messages in and they will help you, that will help you to live what you're hearing here, to live the wisdom that we are released to live through the process that I call the method. I realize that some of the statements I'll be saying are pretty deep, and you could press pause at any time to give yourself time to contemplate the full weight of what you're hearing. But I think there's also value in just letting yourself hear the flow, just going through, planting seeds in your consciousness that will bear the fruit of action that is more enlightened and feeling that is more enlightened. So here we go. The title of this reading is Stop Trying to Feel Good About Yourself. Approval seeking is self-defeating, including when the approval we seek and fearfully cling to is our own. When you make your goal approval, you are following a map that leads to a false treasure, while the point you leave from had all the treasure you could ever want or need right where you were standing. Living for self-approval is like holding a mask over your face that gets heavier and heavier and heavier by the second. Living for self-approval means living unnaturally, and being in opposition to nature can never be sustainable. It is inherently self-destructive. Looking for your self-worth in another's eyes is like looking for your reflection in the mirror that another person stands before. No one's approval, including your own, really means anything because it is always based on fleeting appearances, and it is never based on the present, only the past, which is gone. You are no more truly sustained by approval than you can be fed by the mirage of a steak. When you pride yourself on a past action, even something done a moment ago, you are overlooking the kind of right action you need to be taking right now. This brings unpleasant consequences. A self free from self-pride reveals the splendor of its true glory. The self free from dependency upon approval operates free from false motives, or the motive to be false to gain a real reward. The self we show to the world for approval is a pretense self, a false self, and that makes liars out of us. Feeling good about yourself is like looking in the rearview mirror to avoid a crash up ahead. The alternative to feeling good about yourself is not feeling bad about yourself. Those two opposites always go together. The alternative is simply being yourself. And that is the essence of joy and the expression of pure love. What we are looking at when we feel proud of ourselves is a mental image of ourselves. This is like the myth of Narcissus, who drowned when he fell in love with his reflection on a pool of water and dove in to find himself. As long as you feel the need to prove yourself to someone, you secretly resent that person for the unnatural antics you are putting yourself through. Instead of trying to feel good about yourself, stop feeling bad about yourself. When you stop the latter, you lose your motivation to indulge in the former. Striving for approval, your own or another's, is like working hard at a real job for play money. You have obtained nothing that meets a real need, even when you succeed. You seek the sparkle of approval in another's eyes based on the false belief that only that can deliver you from the dark pain of negative self-judgment. No one has ever been able to keep the applause for them going on indefinitely. Those who feed off the applause are destined to go hungry. Free yourself from the false need for approval rather than seeking approval to free you from that need. Then you can follow the reliable ray of inner guidance into life's true pleasures and meaningful success. Awareness sets you free. Seeing things clearly clears your way to success. So be on the alert to notice when you are striving for approval. Remain watchful to notice when you are feeling inflated with self-pride, and see the sharp pain that remains underneath. Notice when you are feeling superior or inferior to anyone. You will see how comparing yourself to another is always vain and self-punishing, whether you come out on top or on the bottom. The outcome of approval seeking and of reveling in the feeling of self-approval is worthless because it's fake. We're not here in this life to feed our own personal sense of ego value, but to experience the joy of creation. We are here to produce something that is good and helpful. We are to be so busy in that inspiring task that we have no time to spare on judging ourselves. Seeking positive self-judgment diverts our energy from producing something meaningful into puffing up a phony state of self-glorification. Feelings of self-approval intoxicate the mind with a toxic inner substance called pride, which clouds the mind, preventing the clear inner perception of the guiding light of truth that is always emanating from deep within and high above. Deep within what? Deep within your consciousness. High above what? High above your sense of a separate personal self, a personal separate I. When you forget about yourself in the performance of a simple act of goodness done for its own sake, you experience life's true rewards, which are always experienced now and not later. Judging yourself for judging yourself is like hitting yourself for hitting yourself. The experience you seek is a feeling of deep inner rightness that brings deep inner peace. All frantic life patterns, whether driven by a frightened sense of crisis or a craving for adrenaline's rush, are signs of someone struggling to live up to a false self-image for a false sense of approval. That individual is on the run from true selfhood, when selfhood delivers true fulfillment. Those addicted to superficial shows of approval rush. The one that is free of the craving for vain and false self-glorification moves slowly but surely in a state of profound inner stillness. Trying to prove yourself to yourself is like a needy person looking in the mirror in the hopes of finding a strong person looking back at him. You want to be told you're okay because you believe there is no other way for you to feel okay. But this state of interdependence itself feels not okay, regardless of the temporary result of apparent approval it may occasionally obtain. Feeling good about yourself is a false reward that always betrays you in the end. It's like someone you might hire to compliment you constantly. What do you suppose his true feelings toward you would be? Doing right makes you feel right. Feeling right about what you have done actually makes you feel wrong, because it is wrong for you. Do what feels right in the present instead of judging yourself over your past. Now, if you would like help in actually living these principles, I can guide you through a simple, effective process called the method for achieving this all-important result. The method works beautifully over the phone and via Skype. To discuss how I can help you further, go to lovethemethod.com. That's lovethemethod.com. And click on Contact to drop me an email. We can then set up a time for a phone conversation. I'd love to hear from you. Please let others know about this video and ask them to check out Love the Method if they're suffering in any way. Really, I'd love to hear from you. So go to Love the Method, click on Contact. Let's set up a time to chat. Thanks a lot, and I hope you enjoyed this program.